Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new build. So we are up at the Northern Savage Divide today, and the plan is to do something based on a few pictures I've seen around online. There's quite a lot of modern style builds floating around out there, and this is inspired by 2 or 3 of them. So on the general format, it hasn't actually come out quite as I had envisioned, but that's a lot to do with the pieces we have available, and there's only so much we can do there. On the other hand, I'm pretty darn pleased with how the insides come out. A couple of bits that I might change at some point in the future, we'll see, hopefully over the next few days, but we'll have to see how that actually pans out. For now, this is where we're starting off. I've got these 3 foundations down to begin with. Nothing particularly fascinating about the positioning of them beyond making sure they are as low to the ground as you can get them. So that's our start point. And we're going to work back from there. We'll put this line in, getting an idea of what I've got to work with here. Okay, so I want 4 in the corner here, these 4, to be my lowered area of the floor. So I'm starting off with this lowest little bit and building up from there. Kind of makes sense. So the usual approach here would be to, as you've seen me just do there, remove this middle one and then hold the place button and lift the one on the end. But for some reason, it's jumping around quite a bit right now. So we're going to start with the one right next to it, seeing as that wants to cooperate much more. Again, just select, hold the place button, and in my case, use the mouse wheel. I believe it's right trigger on controllers, or right bumper, one or the other. Which is being a little temperamental, so we'll try again. There we go. Launch that up and just release it. Release the place button when it turns red, and it just drops down to the highest level that it'll stay at. So there we go. The goal here is to make sure that the upper level is half of a wall height above the lower level. So if you use one of the half height walls, there's an easy guide for that. Or you can do what I'm doing here. Stick one on the top. And then when you stick a wall in, it should line up nice and neat. But as we can just about see, when it wants to go in, this time it's decided not to play ball. When I actually did this to get a feel for how it was actually working, the thing lined up more or less fine. Had to tweak it a bit. As it turned out, it was basically out the first time by the grey bit, the width of the grey bit at the top of the foundation there. It was just goes to one step up, and then it lined up. In this particular instance, however, it's out by about half that. So, as you can see, this doesn't quite work. So rather than have the second part too high, I decided I'd have the front part too high. By the way, the difference is so small that by the time we're done you won't be able to notice anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. We'll get that back to where we were before, and we'll take the walls back out. So the other big feature for this that I had in mind was to have the walls inside out, so that the white plastered surface is on the outside and the bare bricks on the inside. The first things first, I'm going to get my foundations dropped in, or the rest of them rather. There we go. So to get the walls to go in the opposite way round, you need an extra floor piece or foundation piece on the outside of where you want the outer wall to be. Otherwise it won't snap to it. In this case it thinks it's snapping to the extra foundation piece. Little does it know, I'm going to take the ground out from under it in a moment. Around about now. Just leave it slightly floating there. This is not really what it's designed to do, so can't be helped unfortunately. There we go. So we have a new edge to the build, and the walls are now inside out. So that was rather quick, we'll take another look at it. Just drop these extra foundations in. I want the upper level to wrap around this lower section, so there we go. And we'll put some more walls in. You can see here what happens if you try and do it without putting the foundation on. Just snaps the correct way around, I suppose. And won't cooperate for our needs. So, a few more foundations in. Fortunately, these ones don't seem to mind hanging off the edge of a cliff. Snap those walls in. Pop up here. And there we go. Now we take these off and try not to fall off the edge. Hence why I'm going round. So it happens, it would probably make quite a cool balcony if you wanted to go down that road, hanging over the edge of the cliff there, but I decided not to. So, same thing again on the two edges. Snap some extra foundations around the outside. Go over to the walls. And just nudge it back so that it's the right way out, for our purposes. And save on concrete. I'm just going to swap these ones around. And because it's fallout, it's going to fight back and refuse to snap where it should do. Come on. No, you want to. You can do it. Close enough. Grab this last one. And we'll start putting the walls in and just sort of leapfrog down the wall. And eventually wants to go in. There we go. Sorted. Now we need a way to get out. We'll just hit the store scrap replace button, click replace, and swap it out for a door. There we go. I do like that feature. Of all the new features I've added to building in 76, that's definitely one of my favourites. Makes life a lot easier, that. Rather than scrapping the whole thing and starting again. So, snap some stairs in. Previously, you would have had to snap the stairs in first and then the lower foundation in over the top of those stairs. But since the change to the way foundations work, it's now stairs afterwards. Fortunately, it does still work. Thank you to whoever mentioned that fact to me, because I was rather concerned that it wasn't going to work anymore. Would have been quite the spanner in the works. Some upper floors on here. Let's stick with the grated floors so it's see through. Work with that modern vibe somewhat. And now we're going to extend off the side. So, I'm going to use the Atomic Store laminated floors for this one, because I quite like these dark ones. Again, once it wants to cooperate, there we go. Gotcha. These trees will be disappearing momentarily. Off with you. Yep. Cool thing. Sometimes it's easier just to let it snap wherever it will and then move it afterwards. In this case, I'm just going to spin them around afterwards, but sometimes fighting with it just ends up being a losing battle. However, we get there in the end, so that's the main thing. 1, 2. Eventually, maybe. There we go. So we'll pop downstairs and put the lower level underneath. Have some more foundations in. And we're just going to match this up to the top. Then we've got our kind of porch, patio, veranda type area out the back. Or the front, because this is the only door. One good thing about doing the upper level, once you've got the walls in below, the walls on the second story will always snap straight in the same way round as the walls below. So we don't have to argue so much with it. Not the best example perhaps of it just there, but take my word for it, yeah? Flip that over so we can get into what will become the bedroom. And we're back onto snapping floor pieces around the outside to make them fit, seeing as we haven't got walls underneath these. Once we find those walls, there they are. The wall tab could be a little better organised. There we go. So here, I had wanted to have the section of roof over the lowered section of the floor to be at a lower height than the rest. Initially, I had not really found a way of doing that, because these angled wall pieces, in fact all of them, the roofs don't want to snap on the outside, they want to snap over the inside, or what would be the inside of the building. In this case, it's the outside, because we're using them backwards. So I ended up electing to just put a flat roof on, although I think I may have come up with a workaround for that, looking back on it as I edited it. The workaround I had to use here, as you can see, snap it around so it goes outside, and then just sort of lead it around and inside. I think the same principle might work for putting a second layer in. If it does, or a second height section of roof in, rather. If it does, I will probably do a short follow-up to this build on it, so you can see exactly how I managed to make it work. Big if, though. I did try for about a good, possibly at least 15 minutes to get the roofs to play ball. Have a little look at some of it here. Needless to say, I got rather frustrated with it, or I concluded that it wasn't going to cooperate. There we go, last couple of bits of wall on. As it's going dark, we must be nearly there. We're going to swap out the walls for windows, basically swapping most of them out, apart from the ones along the back edge, because those basically look straight to a cliffside, so not much point. Mix and match any way you like, put windows in any way you like. Unfortunately, the ones on the brick tab don't seem to open, which is a little disappointing, but there we go. I think I prefer these single windows rather than the shorter double barred ones. Again, wanted to use a different shape to the roof up here, so we're using these pointed roofs. Start off working our way around the outside, and once we've got a piece over the inside, we can just snap to that. Make sure we've got the open-ended ones for the middle, and then close off the ends when we get to the walls. And I'm going to seal the ends over the top of this internal wall here, just to make sure the rooms feel a little more properly enclosed. And that is pretty much the structure. There's a couple of bits to look at on the tour, but we'll point those out as we get to them. Speaking of, you can see I've extended the walls out with some angles and a bit of extra roof over the top, basically because, as is always the case when you can only really snap things, the thing was looking a little too on the boxy side. So it's, again, I had to use the roofs as a guide and work around the outside, but it adds a bit more shape, particularly from a distance, as you'll see again when if you go back and have a look at the little bit of footage at the start. Our little generator room here, very, very basic, because I'm right on the build limit here. So what I actually decided, subsequently after recording the tour, was that I wanted to take those angled bits on the ends off. They do give it a bit of character, and my feelings are still decidedly mixed, but I wanted the extra build space for a couple of little bits of extra decoration, so off they came. We might be able to make things a bit more interesting in the next few days anyway, so watch this space. A little power armor station on the patio out here. I'm quite happy, I thought, with using those construction lights, but they are far too bright with having two of them, so we'll pull one of those out for the nighttime tour in just a moment. A little nosy down onto the rest of the cliff edge here, where I've got my little adhesive farm out back and the obligatory blackberries in the corner. I've also got the water purifier just on the side there as well. We'll take a look around inside. This is where it really does come to life. We put that little wall with a window in it there just to kind of break it up. It felt, that kitchen area felt like it needed dividing from the entrance a little bit. So that just snapped neatly in place, which is quite handy. There we go. All our workbenches, a little bit of decoration. As I say, I've absolutely hit the build limit here. I've got nothing stored at all, and everything's maxed out, so still would like to get a bit more decoration in. Looking forward to the upcoming decoration additions that Bethesda keep teasing us with. Definitely hope we're going to get things we can put on shelves and stuff, because right now pot plants are about all we've got. I've got some of the ones out the Atomic Shop, but I quite like using these ones. They match the ferns that I like. A couple of sofas down here. A nice little lowered seating area. Nice view out of the windows over the Northern Savage Divide there. A few bits of pieces on the wall. Our brewing station and fermenting station from the recent update. I'll mosey on upstairs. With this landing, I really didn't know what to do with it for a while. Ultimately, I settled on basically a music performance area. We've got essentially a full squad's worth of instruments down at the end there, and then seats for two more. Yeah, pretty basic use of the space. The paintings on the wall, it's worth noting that if you put them directly onto the external surface of the brick, like I've done here, the bricks clip through them. The simplest solution to that is just to not move and then place another one directly over the top, make them double thickness, and problem solved. And there's a bedroom. Definitely needs some covers on the bed. Deathclaw statue from the atomic shop. I think was far too cool not to pick up. The obligatory Nuka-Cola posters. Yeah, reasonably comfortable, homey and modern looking. I think so anyway. Particularly the inside I'm quite happy with, and I quite like the view from a distance as well. It looks quite cool perched on this bit of cliff edge here. So hopefully we'll be able to put a few more levels to the roof over the next few days, and then it'll make the shape a little bit more interesting. Just the continual battle with building in 76, or at least it is for me anyway. Wish I could avoid the spaghetti of wires out here, but it is what it is. So, let's have a look around in the evening. Not especially dark, but dark enough to get the impression, I think. It does come to life a little bit more as well. I do like it. Nice and warm looking inside, especially with the red brick walls. I like the little approach round here. It was kind of just a default from the length of the building, really, but once I added the little generator shack here on, which incidentally, just a case of snapping extra foundations onto the edge of the building and then building up from there, no problem. Unfortunately, they clip through the building, the roofs, but yeah, it is what it is. I wasn't going to initially put the foundations around the side here, but you can see I've taken that light out now. Put another one on the wall there, makes it a little less overpowering. Yeah, I wasn't originally going to put those extra foundations in, just because kind of like having the natural approach, but there's some really big rocks under those foundations that made it very difficult to negotiate that particular corner, so needed to take advantage of the bulldozer feature. There we go. Quite a few other YouTubers have started putting these oil lamps inside rather than just outside, because they're by far and away the most pleasant and one of the brighter light sources, apart from the really cold, sterile white ones. So it's an opinion I share, so I decided to do the same thing. I think they look alright around that lowered area there. Cool light coming off our little fermenting and brewing station there. I'd like a few more decorations from the kitchen as well, but this is what it is. Got to work with what we've got available. Actually see the welcome home sign lit up now that it's gone dark a bit. Got some spotlights there on the stage, for want of a better word. Very happy that Bethesda have patched these door frames on the brick panel. The doors actually slot in as they're supposed to now. Massive improvement. It was quite an eyesore before. There we go, nice little atmospheric bedroom. But behind that sofa that we've just turned past, I've actually dropped another one of these little oil lanterns, so I've got a bit more light in that corner. And I think it gives a nice little bit of atmosphere. So, slightly longer than usual, but there we go. I do hope you liked that one. If you did, you know what to do by now. As always, social media links should be popping up about now. You can find them down in the description as well. Come and catch up with me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And do come and catch up with one of the streams as well. I'm back into enjoying Fallout again after I had a little break the last couple of weeks, somewhat enforced. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll be speaking to you all very, very soon.